Hey guys, so today we are diving into the bait making world, kind of. This is a pretty simple homemade lure. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. I got this idea from a lure I bought in Japan. Before I ever really started this whole YouTube thing, I had gone to Japan and I was really into bass fishing, and I picked up a bunch of lures, stopped at every tackle shop I could find along the way. I really wish I had documented all that stuff, but it's too late. But there was this one lure I found. See, here we got by Jackall, the Ike-Chu. It's a topwater plastic. Not sure what's inside, but I guess it helps it float. It's not that big, I mean, about the size of my thumb. I found it out there at a local tackle shop, and they're basically, if I was to try and describe them, it's like a soft plastic top water bait that you can throw on spinning gear. So almost like a fly for spinning gear, but it was a soft plastic, and it's wild because there's only 2 to a pack. They were $10, but it just looked so interesting that I had to buy them. And I caught a lot of fish on these in the summer, the dog days of summer. You set this on a wacky hook, cast it up under any shade tree, and if there's a decent sized bluegill or any little bass, you're gonna get some bites. So it turned into a confidence bait, but once those 2 plastics wore out, that was it. It was over. So I'm going to try and replicate it with some things I've got here. So on the back of this package, you can see kind of the concept. It was just something about the size of your thumb with a bunch of little strings coming out. Inside there was some kind of a float, and that was it. That was all there was to this plastic. So what I've got here on this workbench is, this is a Z-Man's Elastic Big TRD worm. I chose this because it's a little more durable plastic, plus they pretty much float. I've got this tiny bead with rattles in it, and this actually came from a Guggenbait's Ned rig. So I had one of those old Ned rigs that was broken left over, and it still had the bead in it, so I took it out. I've got some skirt material, and then I've got some wacky rig O-rings on here. So basically I'm just going to try and copy the size of this. It literally is about 1 inch, the size of your thumb, more or less. I also want to make sure that it's going to be big enough for this thing to be inserted, which it looks like it will be. So let's start there. Let's go ahead, cut our plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and take my wacky tool, and I'm going to just set on one end of this, just kind of like a stopper. I'm going to see if it's possible to insert this without making a hole or anything. So I've kind of just pushed it in there, and then I'm squeezing the top, pushing that little bead in farther, trying to get it deep in that plastic, trying to guide it as centered as I can. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and shorten this a little bit. So let's go ahead and get another O-ring here to kind of close off this end of the worm. So I'm going to cut it even smaller. Alright, so this is what we're working with right now. I would really like the dark side to be the bottom. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to dictate that with the rigging I'm doing right now. So I've got a rather large needle and some of this skirt material. I'm going to make the side with the hole the front. So I'm just going to kind of split this skirt in half, and I'm just going to send the needle through. Once I've got it about even, I'll cut that skirt in half there. So far this is what we have. So I've got an assortment of brown and black, and this chartreuse with a little bit of red flake. So I'm going to trim this. These are kind of like the whiskers. Let's give it one more up front. Again, just kind of split it in half through the eye there. Maybe this is going to help us keep that little bead in there, hopefully. It'll act as a stop of some sort. So here is the front we'll go ahead and trim this. So there's the front of our bug. So we're gonna do the same exact thing for the legs, except I'm either not gonna trim it at all, or I'm just gonna trim it a little bit, but I want the legs to be longer than the front whiskers that we just created. So this, we're gonna have to kind of go over that little bead that we've impregnated here. So just keep that in mind. Just try and split them up evenly. Let's go ahead and cut this. You can see that so far. Let's throw a black one in there. It's looking good so far. So, I really need some legs angled back. I'm gonna try one more. Alright, so for that last one, I went on the outside of the rear wacky ring to kind of push it outward. So, this is our finished lure. Can you hear that? It's got a rattle. So it's part of the reason I wanted to add that little bubble was not necessarily for the rattles, but for the weight. So that'll be definitely an added benefit. I think the sound would be good if you're just shaking that on the surface. But I'm excited to try this out. So let's take it fishing. Let's see what it can do. Saw that fish come up for it. I think it was a bluegill. There we go. Little bluegill. Hooked up. There we go. Ooh. Another one. Where'd that lure go? Alright guys, so there you go. Caught a couple fish with it. If you haven't seen my video on the Etowah River, follow this link right here. I caught some fish fishing that same exact lure while I was out there. But this last fish catch you saw in this video, I actually lost the little bug. So I'm gonna need to make some more. Because it like I said, it just produces, especially in the summertime. It's a go-to confidence bait for me. I need to keep searching, see if I can find some of those online somewhere. But if you know of any other lures you can throw on spinning or casting gear that's kind of like that, a small fly, small topwater presentation, please leave a comment down below. I'm real curious. I've searched and I can't really find much. But yeah, if you make something like this, let me know. Let me know how it works, how it goes. And with that, I will leave you. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Peace, guys.